and welcome to One Thing Queer. My name is Kelsey, and my pronouns are she, her.
And my name's Jenny Vuitton, and my pronouns are they, them.
Hey!
Hey, friend!
Why am I alone in this room?
You're not alone. I'm there in spirit.
Yes, yeah. Where are you?
I am away on a work trip for a day, and it just so happened that we could only record on this day. So we figured out a way to record the podcast without having to give y'all another week off.
Yeah, definitely.
We're committed.
And it gave us a chance to try out our phone call-in feature. So if you're kind of far away or in a different state, we can, this is the option we have. So yeah.
Yes. And I know the quality isn't the greatest, but we just thought it would count more if we did give you all an episode. And in this way, hopefully it sounds okay. And obviously we won't always be using this. So we'll be back to our normal recording vibes next week.
Hopefully next episode. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully next episode.
Yeah, because we have a little wink wink. We have a guest for next episode, hopefully. So
yeah,
that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Exciting. So before we shoot the shit, we'll just let y'all know what we're talking about today, and then we'll go into shooting the shit.
Sure. What what are we talking about today, Jenny?
Today, okay, so I had an idea. I gave us a homework assignment of watching The Happiest Season.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all haven't heard of this movie before, there was like a lot of controversy with how it ended. There was a lot of mad queer people out there, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just gonna give our take on our opinion about the movie and like what stood out to us. I wrote down a lot of red flags I saw throughout the movie, and I thought I'd share them today. So yeah, if you want to jump in.
Yeah. We could. I will say before we get into it, we'll shoot the shit for a little bit before that, little teaser. So Jenny finished the movie last night and was like, "I'm pissed," but that's all I'm gonna say. And I was like, okay, I'll let you know when I finish. And my response was, I'm not mad, but we'll leave it at that, I guess.
I'm very curious.
Oh yeah. I kind of already have a feeling I know what you might be mad about. I wouldn't say mad. I would say, I don't know. If you would have asked me this a year ago, I'd been like, oh yeah, I'm freaking mad with you. But I'm just, my Gemini is going to come out real hard on this one because I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. And
I love it.
I'm going to see all the sides, and that's where that's coming from. But yeah, so I don't know. How was your week?
My week's been good. I have my Reiki level 2 class on Saturday, so I'm very excited about that. Earlier this week I had the ability to go print out my book, so I'm like reading up on that. But yeah, I've been like working and also finding time to like relax, because you have to really be in like a very particular state of mind when you're getting attuned in Reiki. So I've been on like this like eating healthy, drinking tea. I haven't drank alcohol in like, I don't even remember the last time I drank alcohol.
That's great.
Yeah. It's been a good week. I'm trying to think of anything eventful that happened, but I don't think I have anything, at least not at the top of my head.
Not anything that's that eventful that you're remembering at this moment?
No, not really.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, kind of been the same way also, same week. I'm a little bit sad you're not here because I was gonna ask you to do one of your scans, do this the energy scan. I think that's what you call it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I could do it through Zoom or FaceTime.
Ooh.
So after our call, we can do it. I can practice on you, because I haven't, since I got to level 1, I haven't scanned or worked on anybody, just because I don't feel fully prepared yet. And so I was like waiting for my level 2. But hey, if you want like a pre-scan, I can definitely give it a go.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm okay to be the test guinea pig, I guess.
Okay, we'll do that then.
I was gonna tell you, but I was like, oh, I'll just tell you when you get here. But then, like, we planned this, so yeah.
I can do it through Zoom. Ooh. I can do it energetically, friend.
Awesome. Cool.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
What about
Did
you?
I finish my week? I forgot.
No, I don't think so.
I know. Hot mess express over here. All of us. I mean,
All of us. I mean, this is all new to us.
yeah.
So
I want to
bear
say,
with us, everybody.
I want to say too, it's a little bit hard not being face to face because we talked about actually FaceTiming for this. But the audio sounded not as good as this. But without the like body language, facial cues of when to talk, it's a little bit hard.
It's a little difficult, y'all.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. This
We
is
are.
our first go around.
Definitely. We're getting through it. But yeah, this week was good. I was just working. I actually like I've been waking up with like headaches, but by the time I'm like up and like, I don't know, ready for the day, they're gone. And it like felt great the last few days, which I mean, it could be because I stopped taking the pill, and it could not also be that. I mean, I've been eating the same and doing the exact same things, so to me, it's probably because the pill.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't like. I feel great. Next week will be the true test of time, because, I mean, or true test of not taking the pill, because usually, I mean, anybody who menstruates knows that you have like 3 weeks of the month where you feel awful, and then like 1 week where you feel great.
Yeah.
This is my week where I feel great. So if I feel great next week, then we know that like that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, friend, I can't believe I forgot to say.
Tell me.
Totally forgot to say that I had a yeast infection this week, so that was eventful.
No.
That's my shooting the shit. I
Oh.
had a yeast infection this week,
Oh.
so I had told Celeste about it, and she gave me. I'm gonna have to like link the company, but it's basically like it's a boric acid what is it? Suppositorio?
Suppository?
Yeah, suppository.
Got it.
And this morning I felt like because I put it in last night,
Mm-hmm.
and and this morning I literally like I got up and it felt like my water broke.
Like your water broke.
It felt like that. So I don't know what that did, but it definitely helped.
That's great. Yeah, because I don't know how you function sometimes like that. Because I think I've had 3 in my whole life, and like each time I just like curled up in a ball, crying, like calling the doctor 50 million times to get me a prescription so I could get over it really quickly. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know how you deal
It's
with it.
intense.
Yeah.
Anybody with a uterus that has encountered a yeast infection,
Yeah.
y'all know
Yeah.
what that's about.
Yeah.
And it's not a fun time.
Yeah, that's actually like a future episode. We will be talking about vulva health and things like that.
Coochie.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So that'll be fun. Look out for that one, everyone.
Yes, look out for that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we want to get into this movie?
Yeah, let's do it. I want you to start.
Okay. Well, I knew you would. I knew you would. Do we want to give like a brief, I guess, like
Synopsis?
Yeah. So, do you want me to, or?
Do you want me to look up the synopsis?
I mean, yeah, sure, if you want to.
All right.
Yeah. So the movie is Happiest Season. I'm a little bit saddened because it was directed by Clea Duvall, and I absolutely love her. And it wasn't that great of a movie. I have some issues with the way it was filmed. Not filmed, I guess, the storyline.
So I have the synopsis of the movie. It's the happiest season. It's a young woman with a plan to propose to her girlfriend while at her family's annual holiday party discovers her partner hasn't yet come out to her conservative parents. So,
All right.
fucking mess.
It's a mess. I feel like I can't go first because I feel like it's I don't know. Okay, I mean, I guess I can go first. So we can go back and forth in points.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. So first things first. I mean, so that's basically what it's about. There's a little bit more, I guess, we can explain as we go. First things first. Kristen finally looks comfortable on screen. I know there's been other movies, but in this particular character, I'm like, oh, that's you. I can, like, you don't feel fake at all. Like, I know
Yeah.
acting is supposed to be a character, but, like, she finally feels comfortable on screen, or looks comfortable on screen.
Yep.
So that was really, really nice to see.
Agreed.
Yeah. I have more things also too, like in the realm of like proposals and things like that. That's a little bit more of what kind of like resonated with me on that end. But I mean, all in all, so we left off saying that you had said that you were upset, and then I was like, I'm not mad. So my basic thing about this is that because Bernie was watching the ending with me, and he was kind of like, oh, it feels like they're both in the wrong and they're both like the bad guy. And to me, it looked like they're not both in the wrong or bad guys. They're just both afraid and not communicating well.
Exactly.
And like, that's the frustrating part to me. Like, yeah, there's I don't know, like that's basically where I'm coming from at that end, I guess.
I have more of a list of red flags that Riley gave off for me. And
Ooh.
so the first red flag that I noticed was when Harper tells Abby to come to her family's shenanigans, and then she changes her mind the next morning. So that night when she's like, I want you to come visit my family with me for the holidays. It kills me that you're going to be alone on Christmas Day. And she's like, it's really no biggie. Like, you know, my parents are dead. Like, I'm going to like babysit some pets and I'll be cool. And she's like, no, please come with me. Have someone cover for you. And then she's like, okay, cool. And then literally the next morning, Harper's like, are you sure you want to come? You don't have to. Like, I fucking hate that shit. That shit pissed me off so bad. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck?
Yeah. I get that.
How did you feel about that?
I was just kind of like, to me, I mean, okay, yeah, if this doesn't continue, then there's no conflict in the movie, so it has to continue. But to me, being who I am, if somebody switched up like that, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to go to this. I don't need, like, I would then hard no going with them if they change their mind. Because like,
exactly.
That's what, so Kristen Stewart's character maybe should have been more Abby should have been more intuitive to that, I guess. And I don't know, it just seems like, so we didn't get a lot of time with them together of like how they normally interact. It was very quick to me. Also, the
True.
part of the movie is like they could have spent a lot less time in the front half of the movie, like with the like ice skating scene and like the competitive stuff between the two sisters. They could have spent a lot less time on that and a lot more time on like the eventual coming out and like how the family handled it and like that. I wish the time was spent not on the important stuff for me.
I agree.
Yeah, because I was like, they spend all that time like the family shenanigans, and then like the last 30 minutes is like when everything happened, but the movie's like an hour and 45 minutes long. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
there's a lot of like bullshit
scenes
that weren't necessary. Well, in my opinion.
Like bullshit things, and like I don't know, it was just a lot of treating Kristen Stewart, Abby, bad. like
oh, trust me, I have more on my list. My list is basically all about how
the family treated her.
not how the family treated her, how Harper treated Abby.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so. That's what I was saying, is like kind of mine is a little bit more like a counterpoint to how you're, because it's a movie, but I know you were like, this is, I don't know if I have a different perspective because I haven't really been in a relationship like this. Like I'm pretty much as awful as it is, I'm a cutoff person. The minute I feel like disrespected, I'm sorry, you're gone. Like it's different for me. And I know that's not how everybody operates. And I know that's not easy for everybody. That's just how I operate. So for me, I'm like, oh, I would have been like, oh, okay, I'm out of here. Like I would have been gone like the first night. So
dude, same.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm an Aries and I have a lot of Cap placements. So I'm very much like that too. And this is why this movie pissed me off so much, because I'm like, Abby gave her way too many chances because she made so many fucking, like, she treated her like shit. Like the next one I have is, she says, okay, so Abby says she's my person, and want everyone to know that when she's talking to her friend,
Mm-hmm.
who's played by Dan Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having this conversation because Abby is shopping with him, and she's like, I'm gonna propose to Harper, and he's like, what? Like, questioning her, like, why are you gonna, like, your relationship's already perfect, why are you gonna go and ruin it?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, she's my person, and I really want everyone to know that. And that kind of foreshadows like the opposite of what Harper feels.
Yeah.
Like, Harper, later on in the movie, you see that she does nothing. All she does is hide the fact that she's with Abby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of my personal my issues with it is the like proposal talk. Like, you know, your relationship's perfect. Why do you like want to go, you know, why do you want to participate in this this marriage, I guess, a socialized normative thing? I don't know. I feel bad saying that because it feels like it's disrespectful, but I also like, I feel like it's archaic also. I mean, like, my partner and I have been together for like 16 years this year, and like, we're not married. Like, I don't know if we will get married. We might one day. I don't know. And I just don't, my issue with it is that the ownership thing. It feels like ownership, and the like asking for your parents' blessing or your dad's blessing is like super barf to me. Like, that sounds awful. And like, okay, so again, I'm gonna Gemini this because I see two sides to it. Like, I see how like it would probably break my father's heart if my partner didn't ask for his hand, like for my hand in marriage or whatever. But at the same time, I absolutely hate that idea of needing to ask permission from another. Yeah. Like, I think I even wrote it down. Like, her friend tells her, like, have you managed to get a man's permission to take ownership of an adult human woman yet? like
I loved that line.
I loved it too, because I'm like, that's exactly what it is. I know my father would probably be sad, like, I know, but at the same time, like, I don't need you to give permission for me. Like, and I feel sad because I am his only daughter, but I don't need that. I don't need that. That was my issue with that part, is I was like, yes, say all of that, please, friend, tell her that.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
What was another red flag for you?
Another red flag was when they're on their way to Harper's parents' house, and basically she tells Abby, I lied about telling my parents about us. Which is like a big red flag, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, if you have, like, that's a pretty big thing to lie about, and that's a pretty big thing to like hide. And they had been together at that point for a year. So that to me was like, oh shit, like, you know, Abby probably felt like, oh, like, ashamed, you know, like she was ashamed of her.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that, and like, this is where I could see both sides, is that, like, for me, it's more about the communication, because I'm like, you didn't communicate. I can keep important things from my partner if it's from a friend that's their personal business. He actually is like, don't tell me your friend's personal business. He's very like good about that. But like, if it was something big, like if I had, like, you know, I don't know, a medical issue or something, and I would keep that from him, that I think that would be really hurtful, and vice versa. Like, it's it goes back to them too. Like, they just don't communicate well, and they let their fears interfere with that. Like, I can understand Harper's fear of losing her parents with coming out. I totally get that. But
same.
And if she doesn't come out, though, she loses Abby, but at the same time, this is the hard part, is the same time she didn't have to treat her like crap the entire time they were there. Like, yeah,
and she didn't have to tell her. She also, in that same conversation, she's like, don't mention that you're gay.
Yeah.
Like, hide who you are completely. Like, completely lie about who you are. But my parents will love you, like, just because you're you. But, I mean, being you means, you know, being yourself. Definitely. And yeah, that includes being gay.
It's another way of how the communication isn't there, is that one doesn't mind hiding their you know, sexuality, hiding who they are for fear of their parents, and the other is like, no, I don't want to be with somebody who's hiding themselves, and that communication is never, they're not clear on that. Like, it's fine.
They never tell each other.
Yes. It's fine to not want to be with somebody who's not out. That's completely fine. But also then maybe this person isn't for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you should have. Yeah, but then at the same time, Harper lied about that. So it's like, that's not, I mean, there's so many things that aren't fair to Abby. Like, I'm team Abby, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it might be kind of confusing if I don't know, because the synopsis tells the story, but doesn't really tell the story, I guess. No. I don't know. So I guess like I'll kind of give a little bit more context to it. So they're on their way to go to Christmas, and that's when Harper stops and tells Abby that she lied about coming out to her parents, and basically asks her to go back into the closet with her, basically, and they're going to pretend they're both straight roommates at her parents' house. And I don't know, I guess like hijinks ensue. They almost get caught. Harper treats Abby kind of like crap the whole time because she's trying to show that she doesn't like her, but she also brought her along on this trip because she doesn't want to tip off her parents, basically. Her parents are also not very nice to her. I couldn't imagine. It's weird because I couldn't imagine parents treating your friend that you brought with you like this. And like also they're supposed to be seen as like the parents who need their kids to do good in life. Like, they have a reputation to uphold, but they treat this girl like garbage. So like, it's a little bit weird. I mean, I'll finish the movie and then we'll, basically go for that. So Abby does a series of red flags. Harper does a series of red flags, basically treating Abby like crap, and has, I guess, multiple chances towards the end of the movie to come out and say, she's outed, basically, but for her to own that and say Abby is my person, basically, and she dodges that bullet both times and doesn't, not till the very end where she's like, oh, Abby's my person, I'm gay, and it comes out, but by that point it's too late for Abby, I guess. But then Abby ends up taking her back anyways, which I don't know, I feel like everybody's level of forgiveness is different. It's hard, I don't know. Yeah, it's up to her. It's up to her.
You're right in that sense. I guess like I feel like the reason I wasn't happy with the ending is just because in the ending, like, Abby forgives Harper, which I'm very much about forgiving, but at the same time it's like they were lacking so many like fundamental points, like you said, in communication, and it's kind of glamorizing a very toxic relationship. Yeah. And that's what I feel like it shouldn't have ended. I usually love happy endings, but to me it was like, it wasn't, because I'm very well aware of like toxic traits now, being the age that I am, and I think that's my whole problem with the movie is that it's glamorizing that it's okay to like not communicate, to lie about who you are, to be ashamed. Like, I don't know, it was just, and then also the way she just made her, there's so many times, like, I literally have a whole list on my notes of all the things that Harper did to Abby, and I couldn't imagine doing that to someone I love.
Yeah, I get it, but I also get that the fear is so strong that you do crazy things, I guess. It's also, the fear is so strong because they haven't communicated. Abby also takes, not that she takes anything worse than she should, but there's an air of confusion on her side because Harper hasn't communicated how afraid she is of coming out, and Abby's like, for Abby, it's out of left field, like, and doesn't, completely. It's like, I'm so confused. What's happening? I was gonna go back real quick when I was, recapping the movie right now. So there's like what I was saying about them, the family treating Abby so horribly, but also wanting to look like they have a good reputation. It's very like narcissistic because it's like, I've had experience where somebody has cared more about looking like a good parent than being a good parent. And there's times where even I'm like, you don't do that. What are you talking about telling your friends you do that? Like, you don't do that. Like, and I'm kind of like out of left field, like confused because the communication is not there. And like, it's so, in this movie, her parents are trying to look like, people who would take in an orphan and who care about their children, but they just want to look like that. They don't care about actually being that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's kind of my thing too. I know everybody kind of has like I don't know if you have like a soft spot for Jane, which is the Harper's other sister.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you do, but for me, I just, not that I feel like they pushed that character so hard into what she was that it was just kind of like, doesn't make sense. I don't know how they were, I don't know, because I read a little bit of stuff and I listened to like another podcast on it basically, and they were talking about that she might have been like an autistic character or neurodivergent. And it's not that stuff. I don't want to be like, that bothers me. That doesn't bother me at all. It just seemed like it wasn't organic to the story. She pops in and out saying wacky stuff, but it's like there's a right way and a wrong way to do that, if that makes sense. Like it was just weird. And it's actually, so I have like Aubrey Plaza is like the hero in the movie, Riley, because everybody wants Kristen Stewart to end up with Riley. And I've got to say, this is the only time I have ever liked watching Aubrey Plaza. I know, like, shocker, you can all crucify me now. Everyone loves Aubrey Plaza, and I just don't get it. And I feel like it's because it's the same vibe, or the way that she acts, or when I see her in things, it's the same vibe as this Jane character, where it's just random, but not in a good random. Like, trust me, if you know who my partner is, I love random. He's random as you can ever get. But it's just not in a, like, a pleasant way. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't even want to say pleasant.
I can see how she could not be, like, everybody's cup of tea.
Yes.
But she definitely acts, this is a character that's kind of out of her norm.
Yeah.
Because Aubrey usually, is, like, the very dry humor character. And in this character, like, she still has a little bit of that. Like, she still has a little bit of that dryness to her, but you see more of her emotions in this character. You see that she is actually, like, playing a character.
She's also so much more charming in this. Like, I'm like, why aren't you like this in other roles? Gosh darn, why doesn't anybody write roles like this for you more? Like, I really liked her in this, and I don't know. I know everybody wanted her. See, this is my thing too. Everybody wanted Abby to end up with Riley in the end. And for me, that's based off of a few good interactions, and they kind of bonded on one thing. And for me, it's, I don't know, coming from a long-term relationship, it's a little bit heartbreaking that you would, I don't know, like, because I feel like Abby and Harper's issues could be worked on with communication. And like a whole lot of apologies from Harper, like, and some actual changes, not just words, changes. So for me to but to not fix something you can actually work on, communication, something you can work on, because Abby and Riley had a good time at the gay club. Like, I just was kind of like, I like her. I like Aubrey Plaza a lot more in this one, and they looked great together. But I'm like, it was one interaction, and you don't know how she is normally. I mean, Abby put in the same situation could have acted the exact same way. I mean, not Abby, sorry. This is going to get confusing. Riley put in the same situation with the same fear could have acted exactly the same way Harper did. We just don't see that.
Yeah. And for everybody who doesn't or hasn't seen the movie and doesn't know how the Riley character falls under this whole situation, Riley was Harper's first girlfriend in high school. And because Harper had so much internalized homophobia, someone found out that they were dating, but she ended up saying, like, no, we're not dating. She's obsessed with me. Kind of like a Mean Girls moment.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
Yeah, and so that was really fucked up, and then that kind of gets played again towards the end of the movie when Harper's sister, Sloane, outs her sister, and so Harper basically does the same thing to Abby. She's like, no, we're not together. That's a lie. And that's like the moment where I was like, fuck, like that would fucking hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, that I think that's just it. I wasn't mad or pissed. I was just kind of like, ow, that was hurtful. Like, it's painful. I don't know. I can still I sound really bad, but like I can still see both sides. I can see being that afraid. My problem is not that one was afraid and one was stuck back in the closet. My problem is that there's no communication. And that's even more evident, like, so Harper gets, her parents try to set her up with an old boyfriend, and they go out with their friends, and she kind of treats Abby like crap the whole time they're with the friends, and like doesn't even like, hey, treat her like a friend basically. And she ends up staying out super late with the ex-boyfriend and like doesn't text Abby back. Like Abby is like, hey, I just got home. Let me know when you get home. Basically, like, I just want to know you're safe. Yeah, this is an issue for me. I just want to know you're safe. Like, because to me, like, it's super disrespectful. Like my mom, hey mom, my mom taught me. I'm saying hi to her. Like, my mom never made me worry about where she was when I was a child. Never. And the same return for her was to never make her worry where I was. And to me, that's the one of the like most hurtful things you can do to someone you supposedly love is make them wonder what's happened to you. And I don't think that's, to me, I was like, oh, like, ugh, how dare you not, you don't have to, like, it's not about like tracking your partner. It's about like, hey, I got home, you're still out in the world, it's 2 a.m. I want to know you're alive, and that's it. Like, other than that, have fun. And then Abby confronts her on it in the morning, and Harper's like, well, I didn't know I had a bedtime. Why are you keeping me on a short leash, kind of thing. And it's like, dude, like, wow. It's, I don't know. That kind of made me feel also, because she's out with her ex-boyfriend, right? It kind of made me feel that, like, she still might have feelings for him. You know? Like, I don't know. Because she never says if she's bi or lesbian. So I'm like, why wouldn't you just be like, hey, dude, like, I'm really not. I mean, to me, if it's an ex-boyfriend and I'm in that situation and I'm gay, I'm like, I'm not hanging out with you. I don't care. Like, I don't need to give you the time of day. Like, it's exactly, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm in that situation, I'm like, no, I don't want to go to dinner again. Okay, bye. Like, I'm gonna go hang out and like,
so fucked up.
That was, I was like, okay, that's, I'm not one to give people time that I don't want to be there. So that was frustrating for me.
That was very frustrating for me too. That was on my list too. I had wrote down all the quotes that she had said.
Yeah,
she's like, why wouldn't I be okay? Yeah. And then she was like, I didn't know I had a curfew.
Yeah.
What, are you keeping tabs on me? I feel a little suffocated. And then after she said the line of like, I feel a little suffocated, Abby's like, oh, okay. And then she bounced. Yeah. Which is what I would do.
I would have done too. I'd have been like, okay, I'm out of here then. It's just a respect thing. To me, like I've had like family members joke, because like my partner and I will be like, hey, I'm here. Or like a text like, hey, I'm this. Like, it's not. It's respectful. It's hey, I'm letting you know I got here safe. And you don't have to worry. I'm not in a car wreck, you know, in a hospital somewhere that you don't know how to find me. Like, it's, I mean, that's morbid and like really, like a really dark way to think. But it's also like, it's nice to, I feel like that's respectful, and I feel like that's communication. And I mean, shoot me, I guess, if if that's not, that's what I want for my relationship. You know, I think a lot of people would want that too. And I think that's mostly what's, for me, this movie lacked, is the communication. Like, I don't know, the family was like super mean. Like,
very toxic. You can see where the toxicity comes from with Harper's relationships.
Yes.
It comes from her family and like all, you know, her internalized homophobia that she feels and shame because of how she grew up.
Yeah. I'm more curious too. Do you think that people wanted, besides the like on-screen, I guess their chemistry, because Kristen Stewart and Aubrey Plaza did have more chemistry. That's Abby and Riley did have more chemistry, and I think it's because they're both actually queer in real life. So it wasn't like kind of, you know, pretending. I don't think Mackenzie is, which is Harper. But I don't know. You can just kind of feel it. I mean, I didn't look up Harper, but the other two I know. So I wonder if that, but I also wonder if the reason so many, because of the connection or like the vibe they gave off, I wonder if it's part of it is also too because Aubrey looks more queer than Mackenzie did, because Mackenzie's kind of more like a super like kind of hyper feminine, like
I don't know. I feel like it falls under chemistry because think of like the movie Disobedience. I don't know if anybody has seen it, but Rachel McAdams and Rachel Weisz have crazy chemistry, and I'm pretty sure they're both straight. So I feel like it just falls under like the chemistry,
definitely.
you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they did have, I don't know. To me too, like they had chemistry, but like it's just because we saw them having fun. We never saw the other two having fun ever, like even in their before scenes.
Yeah.
Like they didn't.
Which I feel like that falls under like the creators of the movie.
Yeah. Which that's what I was saying at the beginning. I'm a little bit heartbroken because I love Clea Duvall. Like, like I love that. I'm gonna say them because I'm not quite sure what she identifies as, but I'm good. Like love them. So it made me sad.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Very disappointed.
Yeah. No, I was going to bring up too, like, this movie also plays into, like, for me, because I felt myself until I went back and, like, looked at, like, the red flags of what Harper was doing to Abby. I just felt annoyed. I felt annoyed that, like, it was so, I know, I felt annoyed that it was so harsh on Harper. And I was like, dude, like, she doesn't want to come out, like, and that's just because they haven't communicated. Like, nobody should be forced out. And then her friend John finally says it, that like everybody finally tells Abby, like, everybody has a different story and coming out has nothing to do with you, basically. But I was like, oh, finally, at least they said it in this movie. Finally, like, I don't feel like anybody should be forced into a closet and out of the closet. But that needs to be communicated to each other. And it's okay to not want to be with somebody who doesn't align with your way of life in that way. You just don't be with that person. You find somebody who agrees with you that you're not going to be out and you're going to stifle yourselves. I mean, like, that's fine. But don't expect somebody to... Don't force them out or force them in is more what I was feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, so you were saying, oh, I just want to touch real quick last night because you were like, oh, like, I love that we disagree. And I was like, we don't disagree. Don't worry. I'm just not angry. Because I figured we felt the same way. I don't know. I'm just not angry, I guess.
We had commonalities. I was just angry because I was just like, I hate the glamorization of toxicity in relationships because I feel like it happens a lot in a lot of movies, and we don't really, as a community, we don't really have that many queer films like as far as like the norm. You know, most films captivate more heterosexual relationships. So I think that's why it really upset me, was because I wish we had more of a realistic and more of a representation of a healthy queer relationship. Because growing up, honestly, from my experience, I didn't really experience too many with my friends, you know, throughout high school. It was a lot of toxicity, and honestly, that's one thing that really scared me with, like, before coming out. I'm like, I don't think I could ever be out because everything looks toxic. You know, I there wasn't that many queer films out there, representation of, you know, queer couples where it was like successful. So that's I think where my anger kind of stems from.
Yeah, I it's not really helpful to the community if all the queer movies that are out there are of toxic relationships. Like it's, you know, that doesn't really help. But I don't know, I feel like even I haven't seen that many either. And like, because I was just thinking of like, also, so the movie is like super sterilized. Like, it's a quote unquote queer movie because it's made by queer people and there's queer people in it, but it's very like Hallmarky and like Hallmark Channel, and I really can't actually stand those movies. So like I was a little bit like, ugh, this is like not fun because of that aspect. And it's like they wanted to call it that, but the only reason it's queer is because it's two women in this movie, and they kind of try to shut everything else up about it. We don't really even get to see Kristen Stewart, you know, be a queer female. We don't get to see, like, we don't get to see any of it, really. Like, even
Yeah.
her friend John, who is it, Dan Levi, he's a gay man, and even him coming into the movie, he pretends to be straight. So it's like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, which he's hilarious, but like it doesn't, I don't know, we don't even get to see their inner element. Like I don't know.
Agreed.
Have you ever seen that movie Blue is the Warmest Color?
No, I've heard of it.
Oh
though.
my gosh, Jenny. Okay, if you've all seen it out there, you all know what I'm talking about. But like, it's a really good movie, but the relationship is also, it's two women, and the relationship is also very toxic. Like, it's like it's a really sad and horrific ending, but it's like, because you're finally like, oh my gosh, you see like really intimate moments between these women in a regular film. It's a French film, and it's all in French. I believe it's French. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But it's we get to see a lot more of what you would see in like a straight movie. Like, it's the same kind of interactions, but it's between two women, but it's still a super toxic relationship. Like,
Yeah.
it's frustrating. You guys need to watch that, by the way.
I shall.
You shall.
Friend.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's kind of what I got. I don't know. I feel like if we didn't explain the movie that well, I'm very sorry. But I mean, it's on Hulu if anybody wants to watch it, if you're interested.
Yeah. And I know it's like a Christmas movie, but
Yeah.
I thought it was important for us to have this conversation
Yeah.
about this movie, because I mean, there are so many opinions, but I remember when it came out, there was a lot of controversy
Really?
about it.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I will admit, I was in addition to that podcast, and I was reading. I like Reddit, so I was reading some Reddit posts about it, and for me, everybody was just so like unnecessarily harsh on Harper. I'm like, she has criticisms for sure, and the way she treated Abby was not okay for sure. But the amount, it was like, she should die. Like, the amount of harshness, I was like, whoa. Like, not one person was like giving that angle of being like, okay, we're all scared kind of thing. I don't know. I'm very much in the mindset of just because you believe one thing doesn't mean you automatically don't believe the other thing. I feel like that's where conversations need to be had, and that's where communication comes in.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad that we we had commonalities in opinions, but I never, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I never saw it in your viewpoint. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I think all of those are red flags for sure. And the way Harper treated Abby is not okay. But I also think, we've talked about this before, that you can't change someone back with hate. Unfortunately, it takes also love and understanding to, I don't know, I hate to say be the bigger person, because I've spent a lot of my life doing that with family members, and it's really frustrating to have to be the only one that ever holds themselves accountable, and it's tiresome. But I also I think it's also brought me to where I am today, because like I said, a year ago I would have been pissed off right there along with you, and like I would not have been able to take a step back and see the full context of everything. I would have just been like, nope, mad, not going to hear anything. Like, that's, I'm not saying that's what you're doing at all, for sure. I'm not. I think for you, unfortunately, you recognize the red flags easier than I do. Like, unfortunately, you've experienced those red flags, and I haven't really. So for me, it's hard to. It's more like my gut feels icky, other than I can't quite figure out why that is just yet. But you see them more clearly than I do.
Yeah, I think it's just been like being in multiple, like, as an adult, being in so many different types of relationships, and a lot of them being toxic. I think that's kind of like the difference of perspective of where it comes from, because you've I'm sure you've gone through stuff with like your partner, but like for the most part, like it's been a healthy relationship. Yeah, I mean, because I feel like if it wasn't, like, you wouldn't have made it this far. Yeah,
took the words right out of my mouth. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it wouldn't have been. We wouldn't be going on this long if it had been anything that wasn't a communication problem. If it had been anything, more than that, this would not be where we were. So definitely.
And I feel like a lot of it is being held accountable, and like holding each other accountable and yourselves accountable. And that's where I feel like a lot of relationships lack when it comes to toxicity in relationships. I've noticed that that's usually how it plays out.
Well, and it's also, I mean, it's taking the accountability, and it's communication. It's willing to, you know, I'm not going to say everything's been perfect. Like, we know what we've been through, but the difference is we both wanted to, like, make it work and communicate. And I don't say make it work as if it's not, you know, it's really almost never work. Like, it's, I will say it's a blast. We have a blast. Like, I'm really laughing every day. And it's, to me, that's because we worked on the communication. And if anything is miscommunicated, we handle it then. Like, it's not hours from now. It's no guessing games. Like, I don't want, again, we're not perfect. It took a long time to be able to communicate this way. It really, really did. But since we've been able to do that, it's like, it's been great. Every year keeps getting better. So I just, you know, but I think it takes the right person. I don't think you just continually keep communicating with somebody who's not willing to play ball with you. And I don't want to say out there, if you're in an abusive relationship, just communicate. Like, you know, it has to be the right person also, you know.
100%. Yeah. And it is fundamental. And I feel like probably our generation, because of our parents' generation, I feel like a lot of boomers struggled with communicating and like keeping things in, because like of, you know, the era of machismo and the era of, you know, just being quiet because of what society tells you, you know, as someone that's like AFAB, or just anybody who's literally suffered any form of abuse or whatnot. You know, you've been silenced, and you've been taught to be silent, and you've been taught to just accept things that you wish were boundaries, but you weren't able to like vocalize them. And I feel like we're moving more towards, you know, vocalizing what it is that we need and finding that importance and realizing how important communication is, because if you're not communicating, you can't really get far. There's going to be so many moments where people, like, if you're not communicating in your relationship, you're going to have so much pent up energy, and you're basically going to terminate the relationship if you're not communicating. Eventually. I mean, there's no way to succeed without communication. I mean, in my opinion,
the getting or terminating the relationship is the good outcome. It could manifest in so many other ways, where if you're pent up, and it can manifest in other ways that are super not good, and not, you know, in violent ways it can manifest. And that's where, obviously, I'm not talking about communication is there. Like, you know, that's once it's at that point, it's time to, if you can, peace out. Like, you know,
it's just what would be best for both parties,
of course.
But those are my hot takes.
I love it. That was great. I figured I had a feeling of what you were gonna what was made, because I was like, oh, I could tell Jenny, that's what's happening. I could feel it.
You know me,
far
too well.
But yeah, I don't know. That's the movie, everyone. So
that is the movie. So go check it out on Hulu if you want to get mad. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, please let us know if it made you mad. Also, if you have a different viewpoint, if you see a different perspective, if you've experienced the same thing, let us know. Yeah.
I guess we could do our socials. Sure. I'll let you take over, friend.
Okay. You can follow us on at One Thing Queer on Instagram, and my personal Instagram is SpexRayX.
And my personal Instagram is at Jenny Lynn Bouton, and my witchy page is at Celestial White Witch. And if you'd like to share your opinions with us, feel free to email us at onethingqueer@gmail.com.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on TikTok at One Thing Queer Podcast. There's some that we have to post that are really funny, so I'm excited.
Go check those
out. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yes, and I hope you guys enjoyed.
I hope the phone call interview wasn't too bad or anything. Let us know. Feedback is always appreciated.
Yeah, let us know how it sounds, how we could improve. If you have any tips and tricks, we are literally figuring it out as we go.
For sure. But yeah, I guess we will see y'all next week.
I'll see you we'll see you we'll see you all next week.
Okay, bye.
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 Graphics by BexUniverse.co. Music by Jacody.